call the meeting to order at, the meeting of December 5th for the Armada Planning Commission at 7:09. And start with roll call. Oh.
Yeah, I would have been here too, but I forgot to call.
All right, rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we'll do a roll call.
Belkey. Here. Henderson here. Shaw.
Here.
Grand.
Here.
Patterson.
Here, I think.
Last time you checked, right?
Right. Okay, everybody look over the agenda. Anybody got additions, subtractions, anything you'd like to say before we call a motion?
I'm good.
Sam will give you a copy. It's right at the end of the table.
Okay. Thanks.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, motion for the meeting minutes of November 7th. I missed that meeting, so I will stand down from this one.
Well, there's no objections. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from November 7, 2022.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I abstain. Motion carries. Public comment?
None.
All right, with silence, we'll move forward with our section ordinance review of chapter 13.
Before we start, was there anything on this True Technologies on the parking lot, Becky? Did you hear anything further on that?
Yeah, she would have said it in the report.
Oh, it's in. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, who wants to start us off with 13?
Anything?
Any particular order or?
Start from the front and let's move forward.
Okay. 13.01.
There you go.
Nobody on anything for 1301? I am still looking at the book. Here we go. So there's what was in the book, and then there's what's online. Did everybody see that, where the changes were made
No.
in 17?
Their books have the correct things in it.
Their new books too?
These books.
It's got the 517.
5:10:17.
Yep, that is the newest
Yep.
changes that were made, so, all right. Okay, there's nothing on 13.1, anybody 13.2?
Do we have any problems with signs?
Later in the chapter we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're saving it up for us?
I am.
Okay.
I absolutely am.
Answer my own question there.
I don't see anything 13.02.
Let's see. This was added somewhere?
Number what?
Well, let's see, we're in 13.2. I have that we added a D. Is that in theirs or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
sign may have a maximum of 2 sides unless expressly permitted elsewhere in this article.
I just don't have a new copy printed out. Okay, so that was the only thing that I had there. Hearing nothing else.
Where's your other copy? 'Cause
I'm
that's
looking for him, that's probably what that one is. Okay. Nothing?
Cool.
Okay, 13.3 is where we are. There it is. That's the newest copy of this one, isn't it? Where's that D at? 13.8. Yeah, that's what this is.
All caught up?
Oh, yeah. I just have several copies to look at now.
Fair enough.
Okay, nothing?
I have something.
Okay, let's hear it.
13.03C. I would move that we strike the first two sentences from that paragraph.
Gotta look at this one.
Signs shall be located outside of any street right of way.
Leave that sentence only.
I'm sorry, 1303 what?
13.03C.
That, you just leave the first sentence and get rid of the rest of it?
I would recommend striking his first two sentences.
So what do you recommend it
I
say?
don't have
All-
what he's looking
All
at.
such signs shall be set outside the pub right away. And that's it.
That's the old one. 13.03 is now memorial signs in C.
5.3.
He has the old original.
Okay.
He doesn't have this one.
I can see that. That's the new one?
That's the newest one, yes.
Okay.
So I had just a question about the process, because 1303, it says permitted without a permit. And then in L, it says the building inspector can grant approval on a 90-day basis. So there's an application, sign application and a permit, or how does the building?
It's a permit. It's a building permit for a sign.
It says without a permit.
Well, the permit is a building permit. You don't get a sign permit per se that allows you to have a sign.
Oh.
The permit is a building
Building
permit to
Okay,
make sure
so
that it's erected correctly.
Building permit, so it could be part of the rest of whatever his job is. that
Correct.
permit.
If they're remodeling and they pulled a building permit, the sign could be part of that as well.
Okay. And that's how the building inspector gets involved.
If it's there, correct, but it could be, that's just like planning commission, if an applicant makes the sign part of their application to the
Mhm.
planning commission,
Right.
it can be approved there without going to the building department, kind of thing.
And government signs can go into the directional or regulatory signs may be permitted in the road right of way.
Yeah, I was going from the website when I was reviewing over the weekend, so. Because I wasn't made aware that there was a revision made in 17, so.
So that's not codified, right? That's just on the,
Correct,
Front
but
page.
did you look under zoning ordinance? On the front page of the planning commission, I think there's a special, maybe it's the building department, says signs. Not specifically. I'm making a copy of
Just
mine.
bear with me as I'm going through, because this one
Same
doesn't
here.
have all of that. This
No,
one.
it's all right.
There's a book.
So in the old book, what did you want to strike from there?
Well, the old book, 1303C,
C is opinion political science.
Oh, two.
just strike the first two sentences, but I'm not seeing it in
No,
the updated.
Because that was part of what had to change because of the lawsuit you talked about at the
Okay.
last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Those all fall under temporary signs now. You cannot You cannot make rules based on the content of the sign. That's what will end you in court. So you have to treat every sign, whether it's a political sign, stamp out cancer, speed limit 25 sign, whatever it is, you have to treat them all the same way.
So there's no
Those
discrimination.
signs, those are in trouble now because those have been up there for about 6 months now.
Now, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that part entirely is taken out of the ordinance for that reason. Signs have to be based on type of sign, not content of sign. Or rules have to be based on. Did you make more notes on your computer based off of what you read online?
No, that was just the one right there because this, and I was talking to some of the businesses in town. I was picking their brain on a couple of points, but I was also going off of what I had.
No, my point being that if there's other points you wanna make, we can
No,
find where they are in the new ordinance.
Duly noted.
So then I
There
think,
we are, okay.
When they put the stoplight signs with the flashing in town there, did we have anything to do with that?
We did not, he went right to the police chief.
Yeah, because it does say no flashing sign.
Yeah, I saw that, no flashing sign,
Right.
and I'm like, wow, that's a flashing sign as far as I'm
Flashing
concerned.
sign.
That's why I was wondering if they came to,
So does that mean they issued themselves a ticket for having a sign that's flashing when it's...
probably did.
Are you okay to move forward?
At this time, yeah, because, like I said, the one thing I was going off of, like I said, I was going from... what
Yeah,
I
that's
had.
why I had 3 copies. I had all different ones.
No, that's duly, like I said, it's appreciated.
Okay. All right,
And
so.
I found the one section I was looking for, I was just re-reviewing it.
Okay. And you're good, questions or anything on that section?
No, but like was pointed out, there is... How's the best way I want to word this? There's definitely a lot of non-conforming signs,
Yes.
at least in that regard,
And-
and that is something that I'm just re-reviewing this again.
That is the code enforcement?
Well, it is,
Should
but,
be-
wait till you get to the rest of the thing, because. you're
Okay,
gonna-
well then let's go into 1304. And are these rules for residents or just businesses?
They're both.
That's what I thought.
For the flagpoles.
Signs permitted in all districts with a permit.
Okay.
Some are, non-residential uses, so it just depends.
For like flagpoles, like Mike was just saying, that's what I was looking at.
Can be either one.
Okay, anybody in 1304?
No.
Kevin, you still good?
Yeah,
All right.
did you need this back, or I'm just re-reviewing this and comparing this with what I was going over? Okay.
We're good.
All right.
1305,
Well, one thing I wanted to see on B there, number 4,
and
page 13-6, says planning commission review the location and design of each site entry feature with signage shall be subject to review and approval by the planning commission. So does that mean anytime that anybody puts up a flagpole or?
That's a site, that's, if you're putting a sign at A is flagpoles,
Okay,
B is not.
century, okay, site entry features of signage.
right.
Gotcha, okay. My bad.
kind of confusing.
Okay, 1305. Oh, we made some big changes here, didn't we? he has my final copy.
I'll hand it back if we need
Your
it.
5 feet portion, any changeable, did we add that?
Yes.
Okay. So that was my only marker in 5. That was 6, not 5. Okay, here, nothing in 5, anybody in 6?
Back in 1303, it says window signs in non-residential areas which shall not occupy more than 30% of the total window area. And then here we have the total signage area of building model signs shall not exceed 10%
Right,
But
of the
there's a-
sizable
you're talking different, okay?
signable area of the building facade.
Okay, so this sign is one that's physically attached to the outside of the building.
Okay.
This
The other ones
sign are the ones that are inside of the window.
Okay.
So in other words,
okay.
you can't fill your windows up with signs,
Right.
that they don't want that, from the inside of your business.
Right, more than 30% of
No,
the window.
That's
No.
10% of the window,
Right,
isn't it 10%?
that's what I thought it was.
Well, what's the 30%?
The building facade, so you
The
measure the
outside.
front of your building, first floor of your building, and if it's 10 by 20, that's 200 square feet, it can't take up more than 30%, your sign can't be more than 30% of the 200 square feet. Doesn't matter if you only have one window, and you have that much room to make a bigger sign,
Okay.
so.
It says here, I think it says 10% is the facade.
Yeah, I just happened to notice that, and I wanted to make sure. that,
10%, oh, I'm sorry, building mounting, okay, I went backwards. But that's the difference, is one is a window and one
Is a
is
facade,
the
right?
outside, correct.
Because it is 30% of the total window area.
Window, it's 10% of the, window
No.
signs are 10%, facade says 10%.
Window signs in non-residential areas which shall not occupy more than 30% of the total window area.
What's your number?
In A,
13.3.
13.03A. That's what
The new one says the total sign area of all what, I'm sorry?
1303.
1303A.
Oh, three.
Yeah,
Yeah, it says 30%.
yeah.
Well, we
And
gotta
that
fix one or the other.
It does.
In A,
Let's-
30%? Yeah.
That's why I questioned that.
1303, so what did we have
The old
here?
original one?
30%. And fine error, fine. Well, so that's a mistake on B on window signs, because in the old book, it's 30% in
Uh-huh.
both places.
It is.
In both places?
In both
Okay.
places, it's 30%, so
Okay.
that's gotta get fixed.
So the
So
So we're
10%,
fixing it to,
so the 10%'s wrong.
10% is for
Is
the
the-
window signs,
Right.
correct. No, 10% for the window signs should be 30.
Okay.
The facade
Right,
is the
the facade.
10%.
is the 10%, okay.
So that's what I have, that the facade is 10 and the windows are 30, that's correct?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, well, there's the difference.
Which chapter or section?
1305 is 10% of the facade windows, not 10% of the facade.
Signable area of the,
13,
of the building facade.
well, that says total window area, so I would still make them both 30%. I'll ask the planner if there was a difference intended.
Okay.
Where'd you say that in 5?
Actually, that's interesting because the old one, it says 30.
And that's what I said, in the old one, it says 30 in both places.
Okay.
But one says level of facade windows, and the other one just says total window area.
Area,
So
right.
I don't know if there was intended to be a difference, so let me ask the planner. But I don't have notes in my book that it was different. It could have just been a typo that we didn't catch. So I'll ask the planner that one.
Okay.
Actually, B is the same thing, it says the total sign area of all window sites shall not exceed 10% of the total surface area of the level of facade windows under consideration.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's where it doesn't work, because the other
The
chapter
other
says
says
30.
right.
But the difference is, this says facade windows, the other one says total windows.
Right.
So,
Okay,
I don't know if that is the difference or if this is a typo, so let me ask the planner.
Okay. I won't say nothing more.
No, good catch.
Okay, we bounced back a little bit, but I think we were up to 1305. Anybody got anything there? Okay, so we're going to 6. And you said these changes were in the...
Yeah.
So I got nothing in 6 then. Those were based on not looking at all my sheets. Okay, 1307.
Do we have problems with people not getting permits for signs? As a whole? As a
No,
rule?
that was a goal.
As a rule, it's,
No.
they're pretty compliant.
Just certain.
Or if they don't and get a letter, then they
Mhm.
get the
They'll
permit.
comply.
Yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
This is made. Anybody in 1309?
Oh wait, 1308 has a grammatical error in A, 13.08A.
Mm-hmm.
Non-conforming signs of shall be, so
Oh, yeah.
the of needs to go.
Needs to go. Okay, 1309. Change this to fences, let's see. Or neon signs.
1309 what?
C. I said we had fences,
Yep.
park type benches, changed to just fences. In E, we have or neon signs or other non-shielded light source.
Yep.
Okay, so my changes are all there already. Okay, 1310.
That's one you need to discuss.
There we go.
Okay.
Hold that thought. Oops.
Back to 10 or you're coming
No,
on?
no, no, I was just, I'm
Okay.
checking these two.
Alrighty.
Where your ordinance is written,
Mm-hmm.
and I will say that the biggest time is political signs, but can happen other times of the year. Your ordinance allows one candidate sign in the yard to stay compliant. Any more than that, and you're out of compliance. So,
Strike it.
like,
Where
I
does
don't,
it say that?
One temporary sign is permitted for every 50 foot of street frontage.
but,
Temporary
the other
signs,
problem
section
is,
13.11.
the size. Maximum height of temporary signs shall not exceed 3 feet in height, and the sign area for each sign may not exceed 6 square feet. So even if you strike out that you can only have one, because some houses are 100 feet wide, you know, some lots,
Mm-hmm.
that would allow them more than one,
Right,
but 6 square feet is a 2x3 sign.
right.
And so you would only be allowed to have one sign.
Is that counting one side or two sides?
It doesn't matter, this now says that your sign, if they're back to back,
Sandwiched?
you only count the largest side.
Right.
It used to say that each side counted,
Yeah.
but it doesn't anymore. So my point is that's the biggest violator you have besides the length of time. So truly,
Well, one sign kind of really doesn't.
I'm not, I would say, and we don't, this year we didn't enforce that at all because I knew we were going over the ordinances. And truly, by the time I send out letters and I send out a second letter,
They're down already anyway.
then the election or whatever is
It's over.
over. But it goes for all kinds of signs. It goes for the speed limit 20, you know, thank you for driving 25. Goes for the
Mhm.
Armada Tigers, you know, whatever it is, and they put their kid's name on. All those things all fall under that category.
Right.
So if somebody has 2 kids in school or a set of twins, they can't put a sign up for both of
For
them
both kids, right?
to be in compliance.
So can we change the ordinance?
Or to strike out A and
Or is there
make
something
B A.
wrong with us changing the ordinance?
To make the sign, you know, the not to
You'd almost
exceed
have to
6 square
include-
feet, you could change
right.
that.
You don't, right, you'd have to increase the, square footage that you would
Right.
allow. I don't know what a standard political sign is.
Well, I
Usually-
looked it up, they're 18 by 24.
Yeah, it's just a standard sign.
So 1.5 by 2.
You know, like a golf sponsor sign.
So that's what?
It's front and back is 6 square feet.
Well, but again, now the definition of sign area
Right, you only count the
only
largest.
counts the largest size.
Right.
It used to be front and back.
But isn't that when they're different, when this size had something different than this size?
Doesn't matter. The gross surface area within a single contiguous perimeter enclosing the extreme limits of all sign copy or surface of any internally, whatever. Over here, it says that it even include, it also, sign area, the total sign area of,
It's,
and it says, the gross surface area within a single, where a sign has two faces that are more than 2 feet apart, but they're not. Where two faces are placed back to back and at no point more than 2 feet apart, the sign area shall equal the area of the larger single sign face. So,
So they could have 2 then.
no,
If you
because,
had a lot that was,
so 1.5 by 2 is 3.5.
I don't make.
3.
Yeah, 3. 1.5 by.
It's 3, so
by-
you could have 2, correct, if that's the size. If we took out the part that
So it's one temporary.
One
for every
sign.
50 feet of street foot, well, or fraction thereof, so if you have 70 feet, then they could still
Then you
have
get
2.
2, yeah.
Correct, if that's the size of the sign. If it's any bigger than that, no, you can't have 2.
But that's not really, even that's not practical for what most people want to do.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think you want to let them have 5 or
Right.
take the number out.
right.
And anybody that thinks you should, just drive through Macomb Township during election time and you'll say,
Yes.
holy smoke, does that look like
It's
crap.
ridiculous.
So I personally, based on all the years I've been here, would think to increase that, so at least 2 signs, even if they were a little bigger than 1.5 by 24 would be allowed. I don't know, you guys want to do 3, but I don't know that I'm going to more than 3, but
I would
truly,
say not more than 3, but I would
truly
see
that
3.
is the biggest violation you guys have of your ordinances.
Besides.
And as long as we're going by these sizes, 3 signs really isn't anything
No.
major in
No,
the yard.
if we go by the size. So you said 6 square foot.
Well, that's
That's
what,
what this says.
Yeah, and that's about right.
well, 3 signs would be a total of 9 if you're only counting the one side now instead of the 2 sides.
Right.
But
3
again,
signs in the front yard is a lot.
Depends on the
Especially
election.
if everybody up and down the street's got 3 signs in their yard. That's a lot,
I would respectfully disagree,
yeah.
because if you have an election, if you have a lot what's going on, people want to express their opinion.
That's a
I had
lot.
a question also about the displayed a maximum of 45 days per calendar year, because in some years, there's 4 elections, so if you, and it's feasible that if it's a presidential year, right, you have a presidential election in February,
Right.
and then that same person
Yeah,
will
the
be on
primaries and
the November ballot. Do
Right.
they split 45 days, or it's the same sign, right? So do they get 22 days here, 22 days here?
where
Well, wouldn't
ordinance
that-
is written, yes.
Because
It's
the same could happen for August and November then. If
Correct.
each sign gets 45 days to be out.
But if they,
No, if it's the same sign, it's a total of 45.
45 days, that's just it, they
calendar
changed the
Yeah,
wording,
right.
it's no longer the same size, or same
Sign,
sign.
correct.
So you would have 45 days in February, and then come November, you would have, for the
It's gonna
November
be,
election,
you
you'd
know,
have
elect
45 days.
so-and-so for it. It's gonna
Correct.
be- They're gonna
Right.
put the same sign out. but-
Right, but no, to
Then-
have 45 for each one,
Unless
you
they
would have
change
to
their
have a
minds.
different sign.
Well, the thing is, especially not just presidential, but just any, you got
Local.
Congress, you got
Right,
the state
local.
legislature, you've got your August election, and you've got your general in November.
Right, there's
So-
often the same people on the ballot.
Correct.
Right, so that's not, so that one sign would have 45 days to be out between.
But the other
August
thing
and
to
November.
consider is you're also not talking just political signs. Okay, that's the biggest violator, but if you change it, you're changing it across the board.
Why
So
can't we put political signs? Put
You
it-
cannot.
Can't say
You
that.
cannot.
Cannot say
Put it
that.
in.
You cannot go anything with the content of the
No.
sign. It's strictly, you define the sign and not the content.
So this was the workaround right over here. I say strike A, make B A, and problem solved.
Don't put in,
Don't put any limit.
If it's non-residential,
What do you mean?
well, B covers non-residential principal uses.
are you on 1311? 13?
Yeah, 1311, B. So the copy I
Oh,
have
you're down
is,
in B, we're talking up in A.
yeah, but I'm saying
But if you
strike,
strike A,
strike
you're-
A and make B A.
but then you're, so you don't wanna limit what a house
Yeah.
can have? They could have 20 signs if
No,
that's
yeah,
what
we
they
don't
wanted?
wanna do that.
Right.
A house?
Yeah, you don't wanna do that.
Number
Well,
one,
I say 1B does have
That's
limitations.
for non-residential principal.
Right, but that's what he's saying, not make it residential.
I'm saying remove A, 13.11A gets struck, and then B gets bumped up to A.
He's not changing the wording of B to include residential. He wants to just be able to put as many signs as he wants,
No.
of any size,
Yeah,
in
I think
residence.
that's it, opening a can of worms.
A big can of worms.
Yes.
Well, I would respectfully disagree again.
That's okay,
because,
you can respectfully disagree.
Again,
Well, we can vote,
number one,
take a vote on it.
so,
Okay, so we seem to be hung up on 1311, the amount of signs allowed in a front yard
And how long they can be.
and how long they can be there.
But, and the other thing is like, well, how are we gonna enforce that? Because nobody's gonna go around and say, well, in February you had Joe Schmo out there for 3 weeks, so now in November you can
It
only
is
have him
very-
out
it-
for 3 days.
It is hard, but again, you're not just talking political signs. You're talking the church putting out their fish fry. You're talking the business that actually has a front or a front yard putting out
Kids'
a
graduation.
you're talking everything but, so don't try and define it strictly as political signs. That's where you have your biggest problem on number of signs.
that's why I was gonna
But
recommend
you're-
dropping it.
Your length of time is more other signs. I'll tell you that from where I
Mhm.
sit. It's more other signs. It's somebody who's having a special event at their business and they put a sign in Fifth Third's parking, street
Mhm.
or that kind of thing. So the political signs, you're right. It's hard to say when they put them out in February and they bring them out again in August. It's hard to say.
No one's gonna really,
No.
we can't really enforce that.
No, right. I
We
don't-
can enforce that if he takes notes, but that's not what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I
And
was
he is
gonna
gonna take notes of the ones that, they get a letter, hey, we noticed you had this temporary sign out there just for your information, they're only allowed for 45 days, and from that day forward, from the date of that letter forward, that starts their 45 days. Wyatt Performance, perfect example, they had a temporary sign before they got their new sign put up. So they had a letter, they hit their 45 days, and they took it in, so some things can be, everything can't be. But if you take the 45 days completely out, that's another can of worms you're gonna open.
Yeah, I don't wanna do that.
No, I don't
There
think
needs to
we
be
should do
some, yeah.
Because here's the problem there. You had, back in October, you had the craft show at the high school. You had the Ambets have their craft show. You had the barbecue at the church. And that's not counting the political signs. So if you just have just the non-political signs, that's gonna violate this right over here.
Well, if you have a sign in your yard for the craft show at the school, and 2 weeks later you have the sign in your yard for the AMVETS, that's a
That's
different
different
sign, it's a
signs.
new 45 days. It's not any temporary sign for 45 days.
But I'm saying you have multiple signs on their lawn, which I have seen in the community.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. How many do you wanna allow? You can't not allow, you can't not limit, in my opinion, or you're asking for a can of worms.
Right, you have to have something you can enforce. You have to have some kind of standard.
So what,
And truly, to get your work around, if you wanna do 6, put John Doe on this side, Jane Smith on this side, back to back,
Right.
that's one sign.
Mhm.
Put, AMVET's craft show, high school craft show back to back, that's another sign. So in reality, if you up it to 3 signs, you could literally
Yeah,
have
six.
6 different contents.
6 different, right.
Messages.
So,
I think 3 is a good magic number. I don't think we should go more than 3.
No, I wouldn't go more
I
than.
think that's, and I don't think your average Joe's gonna have, doesn't even put 1 on, except maybe for, like you said, his kid's graduation.
Mm-hmm.
so we have to, you have to figure out how to word it, because you don't wanna say, unless you just word it to a max, take out the 1 temporary sign for every 50 feet or fraction thereof, you'd almost have to just word it as a maximum of 3
Three
signs per parcel,
Yeah,
or something to that
Right.
effect,
yeah, I think
Yes.
that's what we should do.
if that's what you wanna make.
Make notes on that.
Yeah, and then, so there's.
Are we all in agreement on that?
Mm,
Kevin's,
Is the majority in agreement on that?
Yeah.
yes.
Say you would, yes.
So it's gonna say 3 signs per parcel,
So,
A maximum of 3 signs.
maximum.
and then did
And that's
you,
better anyway, because some people aren't gonna know how much their frontage is, right? They're not
Correct.
gonna know if they qualify for 1 or 2 or 3.
Right. Right.
This way they
the
know.
purpose of it being worded like that was if you have a non-conforming lot that is only, and there are a few of them out there, that is only 60 foot, and it has 3 signs out there, it's gonna look way more crowded than the lot that's 100 feet wide with
Sure.
3 signs,
Yeah,
but
sure.
again,
Aesthetically, it
It's-
won't look the best, but.
is it gonna happen often? Probably
no,
not.
I don't think so.
Are you gonna keep the sign size the same?
That was my other question, because what are we gonna do for that? The sign over here is ridiculously small.
6 square feet, you think is small?
Well, 3, hold on,
What was that, 18 inches by
maximum height shall
24?
not exceed,
3 feet.
and the sign area for each sign may not exceed 6 square feet. So it depends on the size of the sign, and like you pointed out, if you've got somebody who's on football team, they're on band, they just graduated. I know those are not the quote normal political size signs, those are lit off. So,
But the way this is written, it could be a 3 by 2 by 3 sign, which is twice as big as the normal political sign,
Right.
and you'd still be allowed to have 3 of those.
Right,
This is saying.
2 by 3 is pretty big.
I know,
So I think we should just leave it the way it is.
All right, 6 square foot's a good sized sign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When you're not considering, like I said, the old
The
ordinance,
backside, right.
front and back, you count it together. So then that would be just a 1.5 by 2.
mhm,
So 1 yard is gonna have, it could have, that's 18, it could have up to 36 square feet of content,
Mhm.
1 yard.
Content, correct, 'cause
Right.
it could be 6 feet on this
Right.
side, 6 feet on this side, correct.
That seems to look a lot,
I think so.
Well, I think it's more than sufficient.
yeah.
So we did, however, jump over 2A where it says bonus sign. On any property actively marketed for sale or rental, 1 additional temporary sign is permitted. Now, if we're saying you can have 3 max, are we still saying, or if you're gonna sell your house, you can have all 3 of your signs and a real estate sign?
That specifically for the selling of the house, so it doesn't say that, it
Right.
just says if your house is for sale, you get another sign.
Right.
Um,
I just wanna make sure we're all
so
agreed
it
that
should
that's.
say something like if the house is for sale, you can have that sign, it's not included in your total or something.
So it's still a bonus sign is what you're saying. That's what I wanna know. Do we agree?
You cannot specify that sign has to say for sale or for rent, because then you're going back to sign content. So in reality, if a house is for sale, it can have 4 signs, and none of them have to say for sale.
Okay.
That's what I
so
was
isn't that another can of worms then, if it's not content related?
That's what I'm saying, you can't, and it's not here, it does not specify content, it just says if
That's
your property is for sale or
Actively
rent,
Marketed for sale or rent.
you are permitted a bonus sign. It does not say that sign has to be for sale or for rent, because we cannot make a regulation based on content.
So actually, that's something we want taken out.
if you wanna allow a house to have 4 signs, or you have to make the for sale sign be part of the 3 signs.
But you can't specify for sale, right?
Correct, because then that's sign content, not the type of sign itself.
Right.
A for sale sign is a
So
temporary
that's,
sign.
so this is not allowed to say, on any property actively marketed for sale or rental, one additional.
It can say, it can be actively marketed for sale or rental, but the sign doesn't have to say it's it's for sale or for rent.
You just get an extra sign.
You just get an extra sign. You wanna put,
You
Jane
could
loves
use it
John
for
on
that,
there.
And then you still have your 3 other, but you can't say that.
Right.
So if they have an empty house, they could say they're looking for a renter and put up a 4th sign for 45 days.
Well, it has to be somewhere that it's being marketed for.
Okay,
But yeah, say they could legitimately have 4 signs.
okay.
If
In or
that's
out
what
with that, with section?
I think the only people
2A.
that are gonna do that are the planning commission people because they know about it.
Well, no, now they all know about it. So, in or out, 2A. We're good with the wording?
I think so.
Okay, let's move forward. Anybody in display of temporaries? Okay, planning commission approval. And we're on 1312. Sign definitions.
These are pretty much standard definitions.
Mhm.
Yeah, they look like they're pretty well spelled out.
Yeah.
And these
So
same
we're-
definitions, where applicable, will be in the back.
Okay. And those are it. Last chance, everybody?
Let's say that, I know, I'm thinking of Papa's when they put up the new canopy on there.
Mhm.
Would it be grandfathered in? Like, let's see, there was
It's
an
only
issue.
grandfathered in if
Same
all they are doing is replacing the vinyl or whatever on what was existing. But they put up a new lighted sign.
Right.
They got a permit through the building department for
Okay.
that. They didn't get a permit.
Anybody else? Okay.
Sign, everywhere sign.
What we got next is exterior lighting. That's a pretty small one.
Yeah.
15, however, is relatively larger.
But 15, I'm gonna tell you right now,
We want to do on
you literally, you have no
There's-
control
yeah, there's
over
no-
them anymore.
no
So
nothing.
the new laws say that you
right.
truly can't make them do all the things we used to make them do.
Oh, the power and stuff.
So changes to 15 is really irrelevant.
Just take
I will have to, what I'll do is I'll ask the planner for what the new laws, if there's anything with the new laws on wireless communications that we can. Because there may not be.
Okay.
Right, so we can either do 14 and 17 together, or we can do 14 and review what Becky has heard from. 17's pretty short too.
Yeah.
Why don't we put those two together? We will review 14 and 17 at the next meeting, and Becky will have some type of information for us on 15.
No, don't forget the holidays are between here and the next meeting, so.
Do you guys meet for, what do you do, change the date for
It's on Wednesday, the 4th,
the 4th?
is our next meeting.
Right. You know I will not be here. I'll be in Alaska.
Oh, very nice.
What is it about Alaska in January?
I'll go to Florida. I have been there, so this is a hat from
But not-
Alaska.
Not
Homer
that
Spit, Alaska.
Not
No,
that time
had
of
some-
year,
I had some
correct?
friends that went cruising up there, so,
Oh, yeah,
Do we
it's
have-
Alaska, yeah.
so they'll
Pretty
go,
state if you get a chance.
Oh, we
they'll
do
go up
that
there.
at the next
Oh, I never said I had a
meeting.
problem with Alaska, I'm just saying,
Right.
it's,
Pardon me?
I kinda like to get around and walk
January 1st,
around.
we set up the calendar for the
Yep.
next ones?
Yep.
Okay.
And we have to have a meeting because we have to make officers and everything.
Right. Alright, so that is,
Now, do we know if Al's gonna be in,
He'll be sworn in by then.
and then he's gonna be aware of the fact that the meeting's gonna be on Wednesday?
I'll make sure.
And,
Yeah, give him a call back, cause he would've been here today, I should
He
have.
wasn't sworn in.
Oh,
yeah, he was,
oh, okay.
yeah, I wasn't expecting to be sit-in, you know,
Okay,
yeah.
He hasn't been sworn in yet.
okay.
I just presumed that he was gonna be here just to observe,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I think if I would've called him, he would show up, he probably forgot like I did.
next month. Becky. To go over 15. Okay, so then if we're all good with the ordinance review, we are on reports. Couple of things to mention. Crew Check has turned in their requested drawing of the parking lot. And it's all here and good. Okay. And we also had the DDA bond payment was made in September
Yay.
for $29,548.75. So we're all set with that.
So how many more payments are left?
Is that 127 or is that 124?
24 is the door,
Okay, and that one's 27.
so a couple more years.
Start writing that out, Jack, will you? Okay, that was the only thing I had for reports. Does anybody want to add anything to our meeting tonight?
The only thing that I would add, so we're going to talking about section 1417, is what is online the latest copy?
Yes, 13 was just gone over with the last board, and changes were made because of issues.
But the changes were made because of lawsuits.
Okay,
That's, so.
That's
So,
the only one that,
Reed v. Gilbert, okay.
yes, so.
So I'm just
what's in the
curious, because
book
like I said,
online, that's
when
it.
I was
It
reviewing over
is
the
online,
weekend,
but it's under building department.
okay, because when I was, like I said, when I was looking at it, I was going off of what I had from the website,
Right.
so.
That's why I had all three of those copies, because I knew I had
Parking lot.
something different in each one.
So I will leave it there, so.
I don't know.
That is yours?
Oh, thank you. We
Much
can have another one
appreciated.
printed out if you'd like.
No, now I know where it's at,
Yeah.
I can
Because
get
you're
a copy,
saying
but
that,
All
us
right.
to get an outside
I just wanna make sure next go around.
Okay.
contractor would be
We have one more thing to do.
$25,000.
One more thing. Got a motion?
I'll make a motion that we end the meeting at 7:57.
All those in favor? Oh, second it. Second.
You seconded it?
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we're done.
Yay.